The bottom was sagging so badly that it had begun to crack. Slowly, out of that crack, appeared the same hand from which he had recoiled. Gradually the whole arm followed. The fingers groped about, then crept towards the throat of one of the bearers. If I scream, the whole thing will fall to the floor, Frits thought. He watched as the bottom sagged further and further, and the hand drew closer and closer to the bearer's throat. There's nothing I can do, he thought. I can't do a thing. He awakened for the 4th time and sat up in bed. It was 7:35. The bedroom was cold. He sat there for 5 minutes, then stood up and, turning on the light, saw the window panes covered in flowers of frost. He shivered as he made his way to the toilet. I should start going out for a little walk in the evening before bed, he thought while washing himself at the kitchen sink. It would make me sleep more soundly. The soap slipped through his fingers, and he spent quite some time feeling around for it in the shadowy space beneath the counter. We're off to a roaring start, he mumbled. But today's Sunday, he realized suddenly. What a piece of luck. Then he added to himself, I'm up far too early, how stupid of me. But no, for once my day won't be ruined by lying around till 11. While drying his face, he started to hum, then went into his room, dressed, and combed his hair in the little mirror that hung beside the door, above one corner of the bed. It's ridiculously early, he thought. I can't go in yet. The sliding doors are still open. He sat down at his little desk, picked up a white marble rabbit about the size of a matchbox, and tapped it slowly against the arm of the chair. Then he put it on top of the pile of papers from whence it came. Standing up with a shiver, he returned to the kitchen, opened the bread bin and took out 2 soft white rolls, the first of which he stuffed into his mouth in a few bites. The second he held clenched in his teeth as he went into the hallway for his coat. A brisk, invigorating walk in the morning air, he murmured. As he crossed the landing and passed the downstairs neighbour's door, a dog yapped. He pulled the street door closed behind him quietly and followed the frozen canal to the river, which was covered along both banks with a dark layer of ice. There was not much wind. The sun had barely risen, but the street lights were already out. The gutters of the houses were lined with rows of gulls. After kneading the last of his roll into a little ball, he tossed it onto the ice, and scores of birds descended. The first gull that picked at it missed. The piece of bread slid, fell into a little hole in the ice, and sank before another bird could peck at it. Church bells rang once. An early start, this will be a day well spent, he thought, turning right along the river bank. It's cold and early and no one's out yet, but I am. Crossing the big bridge, he skirted the Southern Railway station and walked beneath the viaduct. It's wonderful, taking a walk so early in the morning, he said to himself. You've been outside, you feel chipper, and your spirits are high. This will be no wasted and profitless Sunday. As he came into the hallway again, the kettle was singing on the stove. In the living room he found his mother setting the table for breakfast. You're up bright and early, he said. Your father is in one of his moods, she replied. He wanted to get up early and make a day of it. Frits looked at her closely. Her face was without expression. His father came in from the kitchen in his vest and trousers. The braces dangled to the floor. His face was still wet. Good morning, father, Frits said. To speak these words, he felt as if he first had to clear his windpipe of a stone, which now fell at his feet. Good morning, my boy, his father replied. They sat down at the table. I must not let my attention flag, he thought. I must observe closely. From the moment his father began to eat, he kept his eyes on him. He chews without a sound, he thought, but the mouth opens and shuts each time. He looked at the back of his father's neck and felt rage rise up. 7 warts, he said to himself. Why hasn't he had them removed? Why not get rid of them at least? His mother poured tea. She slurped softly as she drank. His father raised the cup only halfway to his mouth, then stretched his neck, puckered his lips, and drank loudly. Have you had a look at the fire, dearest? His father asked. Yes, Fritz's mother replied. It's sputtering away. When they were done, his father went to the bedroom to finish dressing, then returned, book in hand, and sank into a chair by the fire with a deep sigh. Frits watched him as he sat down.